tunein.com. Download the TuneIn app from the Google Play, Apple iOS Store. Listen to us on the go. Coming up this afternoon, strike by physician assistants begin to bite hard across health centers in the country. We touch base in a number of areas and get an understanding of what the situation is. Also this afternoon, 2 fishermen in Tema, Newtown reported dead after a clash with some personnel of the Marine Police this dawn. Were live in the Tema area for details. And police detained 3 students of Wa Technical Institute for allegedly attacking and injuring a housemaster. The police also have been deployed to the Labone Senior High School to call students a riot. Meanwhile, the Deputy Education Minister, Reverend Tim Fojo, is leading a delegation to Adesadel as investigations into the assault by a senior continues. We get details plus subject all of these developments to some analysis this afternoon if you stay with us for the next 30 minutes. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. It's streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM 927. And we're beginning from the health sector this afternoon because the strike by the graduate physician assistants has begun to buy in most health centers across the country. Within the Ashanti region, patients are being turned away. The Ghana Graduate Physician Assistant Association started their nationwide strike on Wednesday, July 19, to protest what they say is discrimination against their profession. They claim that their profession has been discriminated against and disrespected by the public for a while. In the Ashanti region, our reporter Ibrahim Abubakar visited some health centers and report the action has begun biting hard. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now and hear from Ibrahim.
The usual congestion at this OPD is missing this morning, all because physician assistants are on strike and all the patients who come here have been turned away and have been asked to visit facilities where they can access the services of medical officers. A number of them were here this morning. They appear frustrated and disappointed because they have not been given the health care that they came to seek for.
I came to hospital, for checkup, and they told me to go to Mensah or a private hospital because doctors are on strike. The money I brought here, I don't think it will be enough in Mensah.
My brother and I'm doing by almost strike into Yado Mahe, into me Fanuko, that's a big hospital, just one as Mensah. I say, every do harmony, you be a man. Say any casino, Occasion, baby of Susana, Ahochaba. You need to beat me a copy also. Yes, I was at two hospitals in a doctor Nima.
I may buy any 3 days, me banameko, me banameko. Almost almost strike about Obiano, near Sako. I ain't yes, rabbi, and say, on your omupe be a mom. Now, I buy on her Akua or Shemeti. They say I'm the no face, they say no Usea, and Ghana to your answer your short cracker. And they say they are just a called roster.
So for now, they have withdrawn both OPD and emergency services. The only services rendered are people who have come in for weighing. The physician assistants are kicking against the amendment of 2013 Health Regulatory Bill, which they say will suppress their work. For them, they are not returning until their demands are met.
So that's my colleague Ibrahim with a report earlier as to what the situation is. Let's touch base with him right now for a bit more details. Ibrahim, so obviously patients being turned away. Does it look like the situation will improve, and are patients still hanging around in the hope that they can get treatment?
Well, Mawuena, for now, most of the health facilities, when you go there, the place is deserted because the strike intensified from Monday. So some of them came on Monday. They were told PAs are on strike. They were still hopeful. They came back on Tuesday. The same news Wednesday and Thursday. Now you go there, the reality is beginning to dawn on them, and they have nothing to do. Most of them are frustrated. For those who are close to Kumasi or close to bigger hospitals, they are able to go there for medical attention. But those who are in the hinterland, let's say where I went, Antoine, for some of them, even to get lorry fare to move to Kumasi or other bigger facilities is a challenge for them. So they do not know exactly what to do. You heard some of them saying they will have to resort to a pharmacy or any drug store to get some drugs for themselves. They are a bit confused. They are just hoping that things will improve. But as we know now, things will even dwindle more because the physician assistant will begin the total strike beginning Monday. Now they have withdrawn OPD and some emergency cases. But from Monday, they are just not coming at all. Total closure of their health services.
Right, Ibrahim, many thanks for that update. We'll return to you, get a bit more. Let's return to the capital, Accra, where my colleague Stanley Nibleu is in the Dodowa area. I've been checking as well as to exactly what the situation is. Stanley, is it any different where you are? Ibrahim says that there's a total withdrawal and patients are being turned away in areas like Antoine in the Ashanti region.
Yeah, so Mawuena, when you come to Dodowa Government Hospital. In Dodowa, there are two hospitals, the old hospital and the new hospital. But currently, I'm in the new hospital, the premises of the new hospital, government hospital. And here I must say that the physician assistants have also withdrawn their services. You know, it started Monday. Last week, they held a press conference in Accra indicating giving a roadmap for the intended strike. And on Monday, this past Monday, they actually suspended all services that they render at the OPD services. And today, which is Thursday, 27th of August, they have also suspended emergency services. But one thing that is key in this whole conversation is that they served notice to suspend their every services that they are rendering to the Ghanaian public on 30th of August. But as I speak today, all of the staff, the physician assistants that are working at the Dodowa Government Hospital have suspended their services to the public and they are nowhere near the hospital. When you come here, there are 5 staff, physician assistants, employed physician assistants. They are not here. And then there are also physician assistants that are doing their internship and some too are doing their service. They are about 35 in number. They are also not at work. They are not at post at the moment. And so when last week they indicated their intention to, they declared their intent to actually embark on this exercise that we are witnessing today, the hospital's management took some decisions to improvise. And so when you come to the Dodowa Government Hospital, we have house mastership. They are doctors. They are personnel that have actually graduated from their various courses.
Right.
And they've been deployed to the hospital to undertake their house mastership. And so the hospital are using this personnel in place of the physician assistant. So when you come here, that is what is happening. And then the doctor, the head of the facility, that is Dr. Kennedy Brightson. He is the medical superintendent of the facility. And he told me in an interview that for now, because of the 10 personnel that they have actually used to replace the physician assistant, the hospital is nowhere feeling heat at the initial stages.
Right.
But going forward, when it becomes crucial that they have become overwhelmed with issues, they would revise their strategy.
Right then, Stanley Nibleu providing those details there for us. Let's just briefly listen to the medical superintendent at the Dodowa Government Hospital, Dr. Kennedy Brightson. Unfortunately, we're unable to listen to him. We'll bring that interview to subsequently. You're listening to the news. You're on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our handle is 3FM 927. Let's take you to the Tema area now, because indication that we get is that 2 fishermen in the Tema Newtown area have been confirmed dead this dawn after a reported clash with some personnel of the Marine Police of the Ghana Police Service on the Tema Sea waters. The fishermen were reported to have gone fishing despite an existing moratorium on fishing activities for artisanal fishermen, which is expected to elapse on Monday, July 31. Personnel of the Marine Police and that of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority who had gotten wind of the activities ambushed them. That's the indication that we're getting, and in their bid to arrest them, it led to a scuffle and that a collision between their speedboat and the canoe in which the fishermen were traveling in. Let's get the very latest from our reporter in the area, Kelvin Mensah. He's following up on it for us. Kelvin, what really happened? What have you gathered from eyewitnesses and the various individuals present?
Right, thank you. What really happened is that we know there's festivities upcoming, that's Mawuena festivities, which is happening in Tema Newtown. And their custom demands, whenever they are about to open the festival, they have to send some fishermen to go into the sea to get some fish for them to use it as a purify their rituals. So this morning, what happened between the hours of 3:45 a.m. at the sea, they went on this journey and untimely they met the security agencies, which is a team from Ghana Port and Harbour Authority, Ghana Navy, and Ghana Marine Police. And unfortunately, they had a crash at the sea, and of which 2 fishermen have lost their lives.
And there's been quite a number of individuals present to see the videos and the likes. Have the said individuals been identified, and what have the marine authorities been saying in relation to this rather unfortunate accident?
Because they are saying that they needed to have an emergency security council meeting, which is currently ongoing at the Tema Metropolitan Assembly, because the chief executive is the Mensah chairman, and they are holding a meeting to ascertain what really transpired, whether what the fisher folks are saying is true. What our investigation revealed that it is a regular routine that they've been taking every year when they are about to celebrate their festival. And unfortunately, this year it met with the close season where they are not supposed to go on sea. But what happened is, to them, the chief fisherman revealed to us that they have already sent letters to appropriate quarters informing them their agenda of what they will do come today and like the next following days prior to their coming festival. But they don't know why the security people have to come and attack them, and unfortunately 2 of their members have lost their lives. So they are saying that they are going to wait since the meeting is ongoing for them to come out to see what actually really transpired, whether it is true they went there as per the chiefs, the fishermen are saying, or they were doing some illegal fishing which resulted in this issue.
Right then, many thanks, Kelvin, providing those details there for us. That's our Tema correspondent, Kelvin Mensah. We'll follow up on that NewSec meeting and get details for you if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7. But that's the latest as we have it now in terms of development in the area. And we're moving away from this to education, but taking you to the Upper West region, because 3 students of the Wa Technical Institute in the Upper West region, they've been detained by the police for attacking and injuring a housemaster. The housemaster, Ishmael Musa, was on routine inspection of the house when the incident happened. Now, what we know during this is that during his inspection, he encountered a final year student who was improperly dressed and accosted him. The said headmaster who was assaulted, he's been speaking and explaining exactly how it all happened.
It was around 10:30 a.m. Then I moved to my house to do my housemaster's duty, and I met one of my students there wearing improper. So I approached him and then asked him to go and change and be like a normal student. That was all that transpired, and he agreed to go in and change. After entering the yard, he was resistant to do what I asked him to do. So I just held the shirt and asked him to hurry and don't waste my time here. And all that came from his mouth was, "Master, what do I do? I don't like it." I said, what did I do? I only asked you to go and change the improper and wear your uniform. That's all. Then we're walking on the pavement blocks. Then he went down the unpaved floor. I never knew that was his intention. So all that I could realize was he just bent down and got up and once and used a stone and hit me.
How did you feel when he hit your eye?
Yes, after hitting me, he wanted to run away actually. So that was why I held him. And then the other student that was there ran to us, and they apprehended him.
How did you feel when you hit you?
I feel pain, and blood was oozing from my right ear and my nose too. The blood was also coming from my nose. So that was how we picked him from that place and sent him to the master in charge of discipline.
So that's the said housemaster in question. Let's just hear from the headmaster of the school as well, Saka Adams, who's confirmed the incident and says that a number of the students have been detained by the police.
So when I got to the scene, I saw blood oozing from the teacher's eye. And then the student was also there. So quickly, because it was a criminal issue, I asked them to send the student to the police, and then the teacher to also go to for medical attention. So later on, I wanted to find out what actually transpired. The teacher concerned is a housemaster. Their duty is to ensure that all students leave dormitories to go to class. According to the teacher, he got to the dormitory and these students were wearing improper. He asked him to go and change and go to class. The student was resisting. He asked him to go and change. What the student said, "Teacher, I don't know what you are doing. I'm writing my final exams." The teacher said, "And so what? Go and change." In the process, the student picked a stone from the ground and hit the teacher's eye. That is what the teacher told me.
The headmaster of the school, Saka Adams, there, but we'll get a bit more on this. In Accra, at the Laboni Senior High School as well, there's been disturbances there, and the indication we get is that the police was called in to calm the situation as students went to the riot. Emmanuel Samani is in the school for us to get a bit more details. Unfortunately, we've just lost him on the telephone lines there. But if you go on to social media, 3FM927 on Facebook, you find videos there of exactly what it is. I'm sure some of you might have already seen some videos. It appears as someone taking a video from the window of a dormitory where the police is present and students are running all around just by getting wind or seeing the presence of the police in the area. What we get now is that calm has been restored to the school after the student clashes. We seek to get an understanding as to exactly what it is that transpired there. My colleague colleague Emmanuel Samani is at the Labone Senior High School. Will get us details shortly as well. But the Deputy Education Minister as well is in at the Saddle College in the central region and will join us on the phone pretty shortly with a bit more details as to what he's been doing there. For now, though, it appears that in the last week alone, the scene on the senior high school front hasn't been too great. From at the Saddle College, now we're hearing of students attacking a headmaster or a housemaster in Wa, to clashes in Labone here in Accra. Thomas Khan has joined us on the telephone lines with some details. Thomas, the Deputy Education Minister, has been there. Exactly what has he been doing? What has been the interaction?
Yeah, Mawuena, so the minister has been here interacting with students and staff of the Adisada College. Briefly, Mawuena, I think I just caught the minister here. I would like to get a few words. Honorable, you are live on 3FM and I want to know what this will be. You are live on 3FM.
We've had a visit to the school following the incident that happened in a viral video that brought... So that came to attention, the Adisada College assault case. We have taken a number of steps. We immediately invited the headmaster to come to Accra to ascertain the facts and have first-hand information. We overturned some of the initial decisions they had taken, particularly the suspension of the injured student. We immediately overturned that and to rather ensure that he had adequate and thorough medical examination, which I personally saw. The doctors cleared him after a series of laboratory tests, CT scans, that he is well and that he hasn't suffered any consequences that is of concern. And so when we cleared that medical side, the other step we put in place was the psychosocial support for the student, because it's in final year, the injured student is in final year, same as the perpetrator and the accomplices. And so all of them deserve that psychosocial support as they prepare for their exam, final exam starting next week. But after having put in place all this, we also directed the Ghana Education Service to be very, very urgent on the final report. We demanded a comprehensive report that should be ready to my desk by close of day. And so tomorrow I expect it. And then based on what is in there, further actions that need to be taken and measures that need to be taken will also be done by Ministry of Education.
That's Dr. Reverend Intim Fojo there in that interaction with my colleague Thomas Khan. He's the Deputy Education Minister speaking to Thomas Khan there. Let's take you to Labone now. Emmanuel Samani's joined us. Samani, we understand calm has returned, but do we know what caused all of the rioting in the school?
Yes, Mawuena, calm has indeed returned here on the campus of Labone Senior High School after it took the intervention of the police service to, restore calm and order here. Well, according to multiple sources, we understand that this rioting was as a result of an altercation between a Form 3 senior student and a Form 1 junior student off the back of a seized handheld device, a mobile phone. Now, some of the students tell me that the junior, in retaliation, went home to, for lack of a better word, gather some of his friends who are from Apapa, and they stormed the premises of the Labone Senior High School to demand that seize the mobile phone and also get back at this senior for allegedly physically assaulting the junior student. And that is what degraded into some riots here on campus, which took the intervention of the Ghana Police Service. I tried to engage the management of the institution, particularly the assistant headmaster of academics, and it proved futile. They did not want to comment on the story after several attempts here. I also made some efforts to get confirmation of that police intervention, which also proved futile. But calm has been restored here on the Labone Senior High School campus.
Right, Senator Emmanuel Samani there providing those details. Meanwhile, the former General Secretary of the Ghana Christian Council, Reverend Dr. Punifrim Pong, has been speaking in relation to the development at Adisado. We can take a listen to him.
a Minister of Education will hear this. Bring back morality, bring back patriotism into the curriculum. A student at a school like Adisado can pick a head of a student and hit a metal bed like they were having lessons. How wicked our students are becoming.
So that's Reverend Dr. Punit Frimpong speaking there. He's been making additional comment in relation to this, but let's just stay on the education front. The Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Mr. Kofi Asare, has joined us on the telephone lines. Many thanks for speaking to us. So on the senior high school front alone this week, 3 incidents already. The Adisado College incident, now we're hearing of rioting at Laboni, and then some student attacking a housemaster at the Wa Technical Institute. Some teachers, particularly the teacher unions, have attributed all of this to a lack of authority given to teachers to instill discipline. Do you think that that really is the reason why we're beginning to get incidents like this, and quite thick and fast?
I think all that we are witnessing are triggers. You know, there are symptoms of a problem that has been brewing for a long time. Yes, we all agree that discipline in our schools has been on decline. It's taking a nosedive for some time now. There is no scientific inquiry yet, so I'm not able to speak to a particular research identifying the causes or the triggers. I mean, the causes or the underlying, you know. But speaking to the teachers who are responsible for managing these schools, they have made it clear that the ban on corporal punishment is what has made them powerless, and that they will just look on for the students to do what they want to do because they are not allowed to exact corporal punishment on them. What I see, and these sentiments were raised 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they keep raising them, you know. And so I think that this has also helped in, you know, nurturing and growing the truancy we are seeing. You know, in matters of discipline, I think that the sanctions regime that we are running at the GAS requires a review. We've been running the ban on corporal punishment for about 5 years now. I think it is within place for a stakeholder discussion, especially with teachers, okay, to take place within the context of identifying how to strengthen, you know, discipline, school discipline, while upholding the ban on corporal punishment. It must be emphasized that what government, what parents, what everyone wants to achieve is discipline, okay, and not indiscipline. And so if corporal punishment is being banned, it is not to promote indiscipline, but it is to promote the use of alternative punishment that should lead to discipline. So this stakeholder discussion will actually diagnose, will deliberate on how effective these alternative punishment, you know, strategies have been, and what challenges there are from the side of teachers in instituting or in implementing them. Then we can have a conversation around strengthening school disciplinary mechanisms. I think it is immediate. It is immediate because all these things are pocket. They are just triggers of many cases of truancy and discipline that have been growing in our schools because many teachers, to be honest with you, have given up on discipline because they don't want to get into trouble by going to exact corporal punishment on students who are misbehaving. And I agree with them that they must respect the ban on corporal punishment. But in the interim, we must have an alternative to hold forth in our schools and ensure that there's discipline even though corporal punishment remains granted.
Mr. Asare, I appreciate that you could provide insights for us. That's Kofi Asare, is the Executive Director of the Africa Education. Well, let's just end in the court where the Chief Justice, Ladyship Gertrude Tokonu, has expressed displeasure over the absence of James Chachi-Quayson in court. Lord Edu Asare has joined us with brief details. Lord, exactly why was she not happy about James Chachi-Quayson?
Well, so Mawuena, for some time now, especially as the case which has been at the Supreme Court, the Ashanti North MP is usually represented by his counsel. So today, one of his lawyers, Terry Uwaja, was the one who represented him, but he himself was absent. And so while the argument from both parties was ongoing, the Chief Justice made the observation and noted that what the Ashanti North MP is doing is irregular and does not show respect to the court. But every time he files cases at the Supreme Court, he himself is absent, and it's something that should not be encouraged. I mean, essentially, she wasn't the only one who made a comment on it. There was other panel members who made that observation as well. Justice Tanko also cautioned Terry, just telling him that this was improper, and one day when Judge Wilson is absent, or if he represents another person and there's supposed to be a cross-examination of some sort, when his client is not there, he may be forced to take off his wig and do that himself.
Right.
But essentially, his case, if you recall, Judge Wilson is in court to get the Supreme Court to force the High Court to dismiss the High Court's ruling and essentially cause the daily trial to discontinue, because they were making arguments that the High Court did not take into cognizance the fact that the Attorney General did not make certain disclosures of documents that they needed. And so they wanted the Apex Court to rule in that regard, but that was dismissed.
Right, then that's Lord Edwasari, my colleague from the court, with details. And Akua Mensah Brampa is here with the very latest. But by way of news as well, though, we're learning of another meeting by the independent power producers in relation to debt owed them by the states. There'll be a lot more details for you if you stay with us here on 3FM 92.7 and log on to 3news.com for a lot more news. And Akua Mensah Brampa is here with the very latest from the world of business.
A very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on Business Daily. And coming up this afternoon, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana warns of rising world food inflation and calls on governments to avert a looming shortage. We'll also be telling you more about the foreign front, where the Fed has raised interest rates to the highest in 22 years. That is the U.S. Central Bank. We'll be giving you more details into that. My name is Nana Akua Mensah Brampa. Let's settle for the details now. As General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, Samuel Ato-Agre, has warned most of the countries from which Ghana imports food are losing or closing their borders due to rising costs or rising world food inflation. He's therefore calling on governments to, as a matter of urgency, to act to avert a looming food shortage. According to the Ministry of Finance, Ghana's average import of essential food commodities is $2 billion each year, with a significant portion of this consisting of rice, poultry, tomatoes, sugar, and rice. So let's get to the detail.
A lot of this staple that we produce in this country. But at this time of the year, or the years ahead coming or going forward, when we are going to see a lot of this staple that we produce in this country going down, because the farmers, one way or the other, they are not getting fair price. So most of them are diversifying what they are growing. India banning exportation of rice. Thailand is also going to follow suit, same as Singapore and Malaysia. And then already, as we see in Ukraine, what is coming in as flour or the wheat that is coming in for processing is also having a hard hit because of the Russian war. If we don't take any measure to increase the production locally, we are going to face a lot of food shortages because the imported food will be very expensive and the local ones will not be there. And therefore, those who don't have money could not buy.
That is the General Secretary of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana. Meanwhile, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center has launched the inaugural Ghana Investment Trade Week aimed at providing a significant platform for promoting investment, trade and knowledge exchange. The event is set to attract prominent investors, industry leaders, policymakers and stakeholders with a common goal to accelerate Ghana's economic growth in the global market through the African Continental Free Trade.
Offered by Edema Ann Height Foundation, Dr. Wilhelmina Anita William Edison Seminary.
So we do apologize for that soundbite, but we'll be bringing you that one later. The Executive Director of Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Dr. Charles Nyaba, has asked government to focus on creating an enabling environment to attract heavy investments to the agricultural sector. He observed unfavorable policy regulations and insufficient funding by government are negatively impacting the sector.
Most of our agro-based industry depend on agriculture for the raw materials because they could not either get these raw materials in good quantities or at moderate prices. They have to also close down production. Poultry sector is an example where we have over 70% of our poultry industry collapse. The 30% left have to scale down their activities just to be able to break even. And that's how the decisions we took has affected us. We are more interested in how the budget translates to the activities of our members, because without proper budget allocation, it makes it difficult for us to do a lot of things. And you agree with me that agriculture houses majority of the labor force, about 44.something%. So when we don't invest properly in agriculture, then you realize that all these benefits that we get from the sector tend to go away.
And that was Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Dr. Charles Nyaba. Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, Dr. John Kwache, does not believe Ghana is poor. He has noted Ghana's set on natural resources worth in excess of $10 trillion. And Dr. Kwache was speaking at a forum by the Economic Governance Platform in Accra.
We are not a poor country. We have resources. We can raise more revenue. We are not doing enough when it comes to revenue, just 13% of GDP. We can raise more revenue, but our natural resources also. We have a lot of natural resources. You know, gold, diamonds, bauxite, cobalt, lithium, iron ore, oil, gas. Development is about mobilizing resources to fund various sectors of the economy. If you don't have enough resources, then of course you run to the IMF and the World Bank, cap in hand, they're begging for money every now and then. In fact, Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, has said that those people who own natural resources and go around the world begging must have something wrong with their minds. So I don't understand. We are not a poor country. So why can't we address the problem of our natural resource wealth? You know, we let foreigners come in here, take away 85% of our natural resources, and then we earn just 15% of that. If we continue to do that, we are never going to be able to make any progress. We are never going to be able to develop.
Director of Research at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. John Kwache there. And just before we go, the U.S. Central Bank has raised interest rates to the highest level in 22 years as it fights to stabilize prices in the world's largest economy. The decision lifted the Federal Reserve's influential benchmark rate to a range of 5.25% and 5.5%. It marked the 11th increase since early 2022 when the Fed started raising borrowing costs to try to cool the economy and ease price inflation, the Fed offered few firm clues as to what it might do next. Wednesday's decision came ahead of central banks meeting in Europe and Japan. In the UK, where inflation was 7.9%, the Bank of England is widely expected to raise its key rate at its next meeting on August 3 from the current 5%. And when you log on to 3news.com, we have more business news updates there. That's it for business on 3FM. We'll be bringing you more business updates later on Hot Edition, but that's it. My name is Mensah. Do enjoy your lunch and have a good afternoon.